Right now, there's a piece of fruit sitting in a bowl in someone's kitchen that your body doesn't really treat like food. It treats it like a delivery package, and your cells start unwrapping it before it ever reaches your stomach. A banana. Beige, unremarkable, about 100 calories, and yet the second you peel one, you set off a chain reaction that reaches your blood pressure, your nerves, your muscles, and roughly 38 trillion bacteria living inside you. Here's the part that catches people off guard. Two bananas from the same bunch can do almost completely different things inside your body. And the difference is something you can see with your own eyes before you take a single bite. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll know exactly what that difference is and why the banana most people refuse to eat is the one your gut is quietly begging for. So let's start the clock. Second 0. You bite. Before you've even swallowed, an enzyme in your saliva called amylase starts snipping long starch chains into smaller sugars. That faint sweetness that builds while you chew, that's not the banana changing. That's you digesting it in your mouth. Down it goes. In your stomach, acid strong enough to strip paint goes to work. But here's what's interesting. A banana is mostly water and soft carbohydrate, so it doesn't linger. Within about 30 to 60 minutes, it's been pushed into your small intestine, which is where the real unpacking begins. But here's the strange part. Your bloodstream doesn't get flooded. A ripe banana carries around 14 grams of sugar, glucose, fructose, and sucrose. On paper, that sounds like a spike waiting to happen. Except it also carries about 3 grams of fiber, and a chunk of that is a soluble fiber called pectin. In your gut, pectin absorbs water and turns into a soft gel. Sugar molecules have to swim through that gel to reach the wall of your intestine, and swimming takes time. So instead of a sharp spike and a crash, most people get a slower, gentler rise. Research suggests this is one reason whole fruit behaves so differently from fruit juice, where the fiber has been stripped away and the sugar arrives all at once. Now, about 90 minutes in, something crosses into your blood that has nothing to do with energy at all. Potassium. A medium banana holds roughly 420 milligrams of it, somewhere around 9% of what an adult typically needs in a day. And potassium isn't fuel, it's electricity. Picture every single cell in your body running a tiny pump in its outer wall. That pump shoves sodium out and pulls potassium in over and over all day long, burning a huge share of your body's energy just to keep doing it. Why? Because that imbalance creates a voltage. A charged cell is a cell that can fire. When a nerve sends a signal down your arm, that's potassium and sodium trading places in a wave. When your heart beats, right now and now, that's the same wave sweeping across muscle in perfect sequence. You are, in a very literal sense, electric, and potassium is one half of the battery. There's more. Potassium also nudges your kidneys to release more sodium in your urine, and it helps blood vessel walls relax slightly. That's why studies have found that diets higher in potassium and lower in sodium are associated with healthier blood pressure across large populations. It's not a magic bullet, and no single food does the work, but the pattern shows up again and again in the research. Which brings us to the green one. Because here's where those two bananas from the same bunch split apart. Inside an unripe, firm, green-tinged banana, most of the carbohydrate isn't sugar yet. It's locked up as something called resistant starch. Starch built in a shape your own enzymes literally cannot break. It resists you. That's the name.
So it travels past your stomach, past your small intestine, undigested, all the way down into your large intestine, where trillions of bacteria have been waiting. To them, it's a feast. They ferment that starch and release compounds called short-chain fatty acids, and one of them, butyrate, is remarkable. It becomes the preferred fuel source for the cells lining your colon wall. Think about that. You eat something you can't digest, hand it to your bacteria, and they hand back food for your own gut lining. Research into this relationship is still developing, but it's one of the clearest examples we have of your microbes working as partners rather than passengers. Now, leave that banana on the counter for 4 days. Enzymes inside the fruit slowly convert that resistant starch into simple sugars. It gets sweeter, softer, spottier, and studies have found the glycemic index climbs meaningfully as it ripens. Same fruit, different job. Green feeds your bacteria, yellow feeds you. But here's what I find genuinely strange. There's a nutrient in there that has nothing to do with sugar or gut bugs at all. Vitamin B6. One banana carries roughly 1/4 to 1/3 of a typical daily requirement. B6 acts as a helper molecule in dozens of chemical reactions, including the pathway that converts the amino acid tryptophan into serotonin, a signaling chemical involved in mood and sleep. Now, be careful here because the internet gets this wrong constantly. Bananas do contain serotonin directly, but that serotonin cannot cross into your brain. What B6 does is support the machinery your body uses to build its own. It's not a mood switch, it's a supply line. So what happens if you do this every day for a month? Nothing dramatic on day 1, that's the honest answer. But nutrition works in accumulation, not fireworks. Many people notice more predictable digestion within 1 to 2 weeks, largely from that steady fiber. Over weeks, you're consistently topping up potassium, magnesium, vitamin C, and B6, nutrients a huge portion of adults fall short on. And there's a quieter effect that's easy to miss. A banana eaten is often a cookie not eaten. Displacement is one of the most underrated forces in how people actually eat. Which finally answers the question I planted at the start. The banana isn't one food, it's a sliding scale, and ripeness is the dial. Green, and you're feeding the bacteria that fuel your gut lining. Yellow, and you're feeding your muscles and your nervous system with fast, cushioned energy. Spotted brown, and it's sweeter, softer, and gentler on the stomach, which is exactly why it's a classic when someone's recovering from a rough day. So the best banana doesn't exist. There's only the one that matches what you need. That green one you've been avoiding, it was never unripe. It was a different food entirely, and your gut bacteria have been waiting for it the whole time. If you want to keep decoding how your body actually works, the quiet systems running underneath everything you eat every single day, subscribe and you won't miss what's next. And speaking of things happening in the dark, next we're going inside what your body does during the 8 hours you're asleep. Some of it will genuinely surprise you. One last thing, and it matters. This video is educational content only. It's here to explain physiology, not to diagnose anything or tell you what to do. It isn't medical advice. If you have a health condition, take medication, or you're thinking about changing your diet in any real way, talk to your doctor or a qualified medical professional first. They know your body. I only know how bodies work in general.